Good afternoon. Thank all you guys for being here today. Today is June 21st, 2022. We're going to go ahead and get ready for our board meeting tonight. Our thought for today is, may your character preach more loudly than your words. Author unknown. I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order tonight. I'm going to ask if Commissioner Mason, if you would lead us in our invocation, and Commissioner Henderson, if you would lead us in our pledge, please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let us all bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us back to this place one more time to do the business of Newton County. We come blessing you and thanking you for all that you've done for us and all that you're about to do. And as we move forward in doing the business of the county, we ask that you give us guidance, wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding to be able to make the best decisions for this community. We ask that you bless all 113,000 that reside in this community. Bless the board. Give us direction so that we can help take this community to the next level. We thank you once again because you said it, we believe it, and that settles it. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Well, I see the scouts are in the house. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioners, I seek a motion that we adopt the agenda, please.
Second.
It's been motion by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? Pass 5-0. Thank you. Next on the agenda is citizen comments. This is an opportunity that we allow citizens to make comments about agenda topics only. Agenda topics only. You have 3 minutes to do so. Please state your name and your address for the record, please. Agenda topics only. Agenda topics only. Please state your name and your address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes to do so. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ann Newhurl, and I live on Ivans Circle in District 2. And item number 17 on the agenda is very interesting to me. A couple of things. For 2 weeks, I've tried to get the information on how 2 RFPs came to be, and the information has not been forthcoming on RFP 22-22 and 22-21, which is both of these referenced in item 17. The other thing is the Westside Youth Facility is going to be on the West Side. Let's get all the Westside commissioners involved in it. And I really want to thank those that have brought up the conversation about the Boys and Girls Clubs being involved with this project. Nobody better does a great set of programs that really would help our youth. And that's so important, especially my neighborhood, 750 homes. Those kids need something to do. So I'm really excited about how the county is moving forward with this. And I hope that it ends up in a location that is not in the middle of a neighborhood, especially one that doesn't want it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Agenda topics only. Agenda topics only. You have 3 minutes. Please state your name, your address for the record, please.
I'm at 295 Fieldview Lane in District 3. And first and foremost, this is about number 18, the design services for the Westside Youth Facility. We've gotten so much different information. There's a lot of information out there in the court system that says that Fairview Estates is the location for this facility, but then we're told that there hasn't been a location decided on this facility. And I live in Fairview Estates, and we have got a petition with over half of our community who does not want it a commercial building inside of our residential facility. So we'd like to know, has it been voted on? Is there a location? And how is their designs paid for or being paid for without a location? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Please state your name, your address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes to do so. Thank you.
My name is Awilda Gonzalez. I live at 35 Grove Lake Parkway, Covington, Georgia, part of the enclave. I'm here today because I oppose the youth center to be located behind, in our backyards. As it is, we already got problems dealing with delinquency and children running on people's yards. So that will open the doors for more crime. That will open the door for our children not to be safe. As it is, the sheriff's office is overwhelmed. The time response, if something happened to one of those children, gangs, pedophiles, and understanding that where that location is, we have a lot of forests, a lot of vegetation around, so anything can happen to our children. Also, car accidents. In the Fairview corridor, we got so many subdivisions, and children are gonna take that risk to cross across the streets to go into that building. You know, it's not fair to the elderly, it's not fair to those that invested their money. For now, you go ahead and put a center in the subdivision. They deserve to have peace. They deserve to enjoy their investments. Okay, so I ask you to please, that would increase our problems at the enclave, especially at the Highgate subdivision. So I thank you for your time. Have a blessed day.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Please state your name, your address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes to do so.
Jim McDowell, Faircliff Drive, District 3. We definitely need the Westside Youth Center. It was voted on by SPLOST, but it does not need to be inside the Fairview Estates community on the only green space that's there that they were promised. When we get a facility, we need it to be staffed by professionals, not just random individuals. There needs to be programming. There's a saying in real estate, location, location, location. This is not the right location. If we have to buy property, then so be it. Maybe for naming rights, someone will provide property in an appropriate location. It's been very frustrating because there haven't been straight answers, and the public needs that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Please provide your name, your address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and other county officials. I'm Gladstone Nicholson. I live in the Highgate subdivision off Fairview Road on Lakeside Circle. I'm here tonight for several reasons. I probably won't go into all of them, but I do want to second what all these other speakers have said about the appearances and planning, or maybe lack of disclosure or clear disclosure as to what's being planned for the District 3 or Westside Youth Facility. The reason why there is some, in my mind, I can't speak for everyone else, I'm confused a little bit because we have some planners here to design a building for a property which supposedly has not been determined as yet. So I'm not sure how you're going to design a building for a property that's not been determined. Because I would think if you have a property that's on a slope, it's going to be designed differently from one that's on level ground. So that just leads me to think we're not being told everything in a timely manner.
I think there's a lack of transparency here, and I hope tonight we can find out where that's being done. I have no idea what the board will eventually vote, how it will vote, but I do think the citizens of District 3 and the West Side need a little bit more transparency as to what's being done. And the other matter is the matter of the gas station on Brownbridge Road. I hope the board will take the planning board's recommendation and deny this application because it's really not wanted. And since it does not meet with all the cup use, what's the cup use again? Permit for in that aspect of the property, I hope the board will go along with the planning board and see fit to deny this application. And my time is up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Please state your name, your address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes to do so.
Good evening. My name is Carla Daniels Hooper. I'm at 45 Carmody Circle, Covington, Georgia. I'm here to speak on 2 things very briefly. One, I also want to add my voice to the Westside facility. I've heard a lot of discussion about gangs, pedophiles. The purpose of the facility is prevention, is to give our youth something to do. We all are concerned about our youth. We all are concerned about our community. So I just encourage the board to, as I know you will, know that this is not a facility to encourage further crime and any type of delinquent behavior, but to prevent that behavior. I am aware that maybe in 2017, the location was approved prior to this commissioner in District 3 being around. That probably needs to have some clarity to that. I will say there has been a history in District 3 for things that were approved prior to 2020, 2018, and they have gone forward. So we need to clear that up. Finally, the gas station. You have over 255 signatures of citizens who said they do not want a gas station on Brown Bridge. We have 9 gas stations within a 1-mile radius on Salem and Brown Bridge Road. I did a survey on Highway 138 because our Highway 138 is Salem Road. It's very equivalent in District 3. In the same mile radius on Highway 138 in Rockdale County, there are only 5 gas stations. And we all know how busy 138 is. For Salem Road to have 9, and with the addition of this unnecessary gas station, there will be 10, within a less than a quarter of a mile from a daycare center. The attorney admitted during the planning meeting that the gas station pumps and the location of them, what is required of Newton County, they do not want to adhere to it because his words were, it would not be economically feasible for the developers. We are concerned about our health, and we want to come together as a community and bring things that are necessary. Gas stations, 10 to 11 gas stations within a 1-mile radius is not necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Our public comment section is closed. Due to we have a 7:30 zoning tonight, I'm going to combine the chairman's report and the county manager report. If you want to, if you don't have anything, okay, cool. Well, we do want to invite the Eagle Scouts up tonight, guys. If y'all want to come on up, Garrison, Mr. Garrison King of Troop 748. And Mr. Wyatt King of Troop 748. Guys, if you want to come on up. I'm sorry? Okay. Scoutmaster Mom, come on. Okay, I will.
while they're making their way up, we just wanted to, number one, apologize. We could not be at Factory Shows Saturday. We had another event that we had committed to. We're sorry we could not be there, but the county is most appreciative of what you guys were able to do. And let me say, I did not make Eagle Scout. I made it through Cub Scouts, and that was about it. I didn't have what it took, obviously. So, but I have friends that are Eagle Scouts, and I understand the tremendous amount of pressure and the amount of work that goes into becoming an Eagle Scout. You should be quite proud as well as you, Mom. So, our county is proud of you, and we're very thankful for what you did at Factory Shows. And I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'm just going to read what you guys have done. This is Garrison and Wyatt King, both now Eagle Scouts. On Saturday, June 18th at Factory Shows Park, we recognized 2 Eagle Scouts. Both Scouts did service projects in the park in order to achieve the rank of Eagle. Garrison designed, fabricated, and installed 10 lantern posts in the campsites at Factory Shows Campground so that campers wouldn't have to nail into trees and destroy our trees. His project was completed in 2020, but he started college at the University of North Georgia, and because of COVID, there were certain reasons that this whole process had to be put off. Wyatt repaired the boardwalk at Factory Shoals, which I've seen, installed 2 natural retaining walls to prevent further erosion, and built a handrail along 2 sections that needed protection to keep people from falling off into the water, of course, and Factory Shoals is quite the dangerous place sometimes. We've lost lives there, unfortunately. Tonight we have their Scoutmaster, Eric Marchant, and their mother attending the meeting. At this time, I'd like for you all to give them a round of applause and thank them for their. And I believe our chairman has a presentation for you there.
Thank you, sir. Garrison, thank you so much, sir. We greatly appreciate the improvements that you did down at Factory Shows. And we got a certificate here that we want to give to you and acknowledge the hard work that you did. Thank you so much. Wyatt, as also to you, we thank you so much for the improvements that you made down at Factory Shows. And so you guys, I want to make sure I heard it correctly. Y'all earned your Eagle Scout, is that correct? And that's a major deal. I think the last Eagle Scout we had here was Garrison. Is that correct? Yeah. Who did the Denny Dobbs Park? Yeah, the splash pad. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. So guys, we are excited and we're thankful for the commitment that you made to your community. So bless you and thank you so much. We do want to get a picture. We would like to get a picture with you guys, if you don't mind, commissioners. If y'all would come on, let's do a group photo, please. This came. drug court agreement with Viewpoint Health and, Judge Wing Court. That's right. We want to add to the consent agenda. Yeah. All right. Commissioners, we do have an agreement that we, need to add to the consent agenda. It's something that we do every year. It's a contract with, one of the courts. I think it's Judge Wynn Court, Drug Court, in their contract with Viewpoint Health to assist them with their court. So we want to add that to the consent agenda tonight.
That's for a motion to amend.
So I do need a motion to add that to the agenda tonight.
So moved, as stated by the chair.
Thank you. It's motion by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Now I need a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda is Newton County Family Connection, Ms. Laura Bertram. Are you here tonight? Ma'am, if you would, please come on up. Ms. Bertram is requesting approval of the FY 2023 annual contract with Department of Human Services. Yes, ma'am.
I beg your pardon? Oh.
Thank you for being here tonight.
Oh, thank you for being here every time that you are, all of you. We appreciate your work.
Let me jump in for a quick second. Guys, if you could put your phones on vibrate, silent, that will really help us out a lot. Thank you so much. Go ahead, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I want to say that the Georgia Family Connection Partnership has had a contract with the Department of Human Services pretty much since 1998. DHS requires that we go before the Board of Commissioner to request most respectfully and most gratefully that you serve as a fiscal agent. That happens in January so that we can submit our budget for our annual plan in February and know that the Board of Commissioners is aware. We then put the annual plan that we have worked on for the past year with partners, strategic teams, county leadership, and the families themselves to the state for DHS approval in March. We then return to the Board of Commissioners in June so that locally you can approve this plan of action, and it will serve as a contract between the Newton County Family Connection and the Newton County Board of Commissioners for fiscal year, this year, 2023. We have done this since 1998, and it has been an amazing, strong partnership, and we're very grateful for all of your support.
Thank you so much. Guys, I seek a motion, please.
So moved.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? All in favor? It passed 5-0. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We're so grateful. Thank you.
Next, Ms. Brittany, our financial report.
Good evening. Tonight I will be presenting the May 2022 financials. May is the 11th month of our year, which is around 91% complete with our fiscal year. So I will start with the general fund revenues. To date, our general fund revenues have come in at $77.6 million. So that puts us at 99.25% of our actuals to budget. So we have pretty much met our budget for the year. So I do anticipate we'll have a little overage in our revenues. Probably not much because June is a lower revenue month for us, but we should see a little bit of excess in the revenues this year. And these two graphs just show the per month breakdown and the actuals to where we are budgeted. Our general fund expenditures, year to date, we're at $64.7 million. That does put us at $82.24 million. That is trending a little lower than the 91%, but June is a revenue low month. June is a expenditure high month because we do leave June open for 2 months to catch all the year-end fiscal expenditures. And these two graphs just show the monthly breakdown and the actuals to budget. So at this point in the year, we are 12.9 million over in revenues and our expenditures, but that should decrease throughout the next month. We have 3 enterprise funds: Water Fund, Solid Waste, and Gaithers. The Water Fund, their revenue to date is 9 million, and that is at 90% of their collections. The expenses to date are 5.8 million. That's 61%. Solid Waste, their revenues to date is 6.5 million, so that's 95% of their budgeted, and their expenses are 4.7 million, so that puts them at 74%. And then our Gaithers and Factory Shoals Fund, their revenues to date are 285, and their expenses to date are 177. We have 2 active SPLOS, the 2011. We still have 1 project open there, which is the historic jail. We have several active SPLOS projects going on right now, so our current balance in the SPLOS is 33.7 million. In the month of April, we brought in 1.6 million in SPLOS collections, so we are currently showing 21.5 million over our original estimated collections, but we have distributed out most of that. And then in the impact fee fund budget, we have 4.4 million available in that fund. And I'll be happy to take any questions.
Commissioner, you have any questions? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me. I know throughout the budget process, especially since I've been here, I had asked a question concerning Gaithers, and that I wanted to ask the board as a whole to vote on whether or not we wanted to continue funding Gaithers Plantation. And I asked that maybe it's the position of the board that we continue funding it, but I just believe that we shouldn't be funding Gaithers Plantation or any plantation with taxpayers' dollars. And I guess I'm still asking, so where are we at with that? Or are we gonna address that or have a vote on it? Because I've been asking and you know, and I haven't gotten any feedback.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Brittany.
Do we have time for my other things, or do we need to go to zoning?
Can we go into? Yeah. Yeah, let us do
That's fine.
zoning, 7:30
That's
then. Yeah, let us do zoning. Yeah. It is 7:30. Ms. Apple, wait, if you would, please come on up so we can start our zoning tonight.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners and Chairman.
Yes, ma'am, we're ready. Thank you.
Our first case today is, it's a Flume FLU 22-000001. It's located at Henderson Mill Road. Parcel size is 15 acres. Tax ID, it's 88-12C. The existing zoning is agricultural. The existing land use map is agricultural forestry. And the proposed land use is rural residential. It is located in the Bear Creek and Alcovey watersheds and in District 1. And our petitioner today is Loretta Lynn Bice. An applicant's intent is to designate the future land use to rural residential in order to seek a rezoning to be able to subdivide the property into 5 lots. In conclusion, this 15-acre parcel is currently undeveloped and vacant land. The proposed use is to have it subdivided into 5 single-family residential lots. And pursuant to the Newton Factory Charter Area appropriate land uses, rural residential is an appropriate land use request at this time. And should the board decide to approve this petition, staff is of the opinion that the future land use amendment may be appropriate in this area. There are no conditions attached to a future land use map amendment, since this is just a planning tool for future requests. And should a request be approved, a petition filed for rezoning, then conditions of zoning would be applicable to the rezoning request at that time. And the Planning Commission recommended approval of this flume on May 24th, 2022 by a vote of 3-0. So this is where it's an aerial of where it's located, off of Henderson Mill Road. And the current zoning is agricultural. The future land use map currently is agricultural forestry. And these are the two watersheds that it's located in. And this is a concept plan of how the applicant intends to subdivide lots. And I believe the applicant is here, and if there are any questions.
Thank you. We're going to open it up now for the public hearing. It is approximately 7:32. The applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight, you may come at this time. You have 10 minutes to do so. You may come at this time. Please state your name and your address for the record, please. The applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight.
Good evening. My name is Loretta Lynn Weiss. I live, well, going to live at 70 70 McDonald Road. We have petitioned for the sale of the front of our farm. They're all going to be custom-built homes in the neighborhood of about 400,000, 350, 400,000. They're all very good families that's moving to our area. Yeah, it's her family. So we hope that you all will vote in favor of our development.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You have anything?
You have anything?
No, I would just really appreciate it if y'all would allow us to be able to do this and to.
Can you state your name for your
I
record?
sure can.
Thank
I'm
you.
Lynn Smith, and I live at 55 Thrasher Road in Covington right now until I move out there.
Okay.
So anyway, I would really appreciate it if you guys would allow us to be able to do this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? Would anyone else like to speak in favor tonight? That portion of our public hearing is closed. We also allow 10 minutes for those that want to oppose tonight. You may come at this time. Please state your name and your address for the record, please. Anyone would like to oppose tonight? Anyone would like to oppose tonight? That portion of our public hearing is closed. Ms. Applewhite, if you would. Ms. Applewhite, if you would, please come on back up. I think this is in District 1, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
District 1. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to motion and hopefully get a second for just a brief question or two, if that's okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve flume case number FLU 22-000001 at this time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? Commissioner Edwards.
I can't ask Ms. Applewhite a question, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Applewhite. So this property meets I saw the preliminary. So that lot to the north meets the minimum requirements for road frontage, correct?
It would be considered a flag lot, which is a minimum of 40 feet. This, of course, is a concept, so once they submit the minor plat, we'll, of course, do a thorough review at that time.
Okay. And did I understand this was, not that it matters, this was family and friends mainly? Is that what? Family?
That's right. My parents, us, and yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Commissioner Cowell.
Sheena, just ask some of these lots are less than 2 acres. Does that apply in this zone?
This concept is showing them actually, Commissioner, at 4 or over 2 acres, and then the fifth one is at 3 .7. So this may be an updated,
Hang on just a second, I was looking at mine.
but they will be required to be at least a minimum of 2 acres once they do submit.
Lot 2 and Lot 1 are less than 2 acres.
Okay, I think we have an updated version on the screen. But to answer your question, sir, yes, they will be required to have a 2-acre minimum because of the watersheds. So when they do submit,
Have they approved this plat yet?
no, sir, this is just a concept.
Okay. So those are gonna have to be, those lot lines are gonna have to be changed. Is that right?
Yes, they've already done that with the new submittal.
Oh, they've got
So I do
that.
apologize, it's not in your packets. We may
So
have
this is
received
an
it
old-
after, yeah.
This is an old,
Correct. We may have received it after we send the packets out.
okay.
He good. He good, thanks. Anything else?
Mr.
No,
Chairman.
we good, thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, just so we're clear, there's nothing less than 2 acres on this map, on this drawing, correct?
The current one, no, and when they do submit the official plat for review, it would have to meet that requirement, a minimum of 2 acres.
I'd like to restate my motion if I could. Okay, can I do that, Mr. Chairman? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So at this time, I'd like to restate my motion as motion to approve flume case number FLU 22000001 with a minimum of 2 acre lots.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Commissioner? Thank you. Again, it's been a motion by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Ms. Applewhite.
Thank you, Chairman. Our second case this evening is the conditional use permit for a dog training facility. It is case number CUP 22-000005. It's located at 11188 Highway 36, currently zoned light industrial in the Yellow River watershed and located in District 5. The map and parcel number is 84-34C, and it's on 0.58 acres. And our petitioner today is Cheryl Freeman from the Freeman Law Firm. And the applicant's intent is to establish a commercial dog training facility, or kennel. And background on the subject site is stated previously, it's 0.58 acres in light industrial zoning. And it's located in an area surrounded by both commercial and residential properties. And the site contains 1,456 square foot commercial building, and it's completely enclosed with a chain link fence at this time. And for a site plan analysis, based on the site plan submitted by the applicant to the department, staff offers the following consideration. So the site plan and the letter of intent indicates the property will be used for a dog training facility. The applicant has provided development services with a survey. The property has a paved entrance and a parking lot on the side of the building. And the existing building meets or exceeds the minimum setbacks, building setbacks, as per section 270-050B, and the property development standards of the 2020 Unified Development Ordinance of Newton County. And just brief definitions for kennel and so the kennel is an establishment for raising, breeding, caring for, and or keeping of more than 3 dogs. And this excludes litters of animals of not more than 6 months of age. And similar facilities may include boarding of other domestic animals. And just some additional criteria, section 510-355, the kennel for 4 or more. A, any building or enclosed structure for the housing of animals shall have a minimum setback of at least 100 feet from all property lines and at least 150 feet from any public right-of-way. B, all areas housing animals shall be completely enclosed by walls or fences at least 5 feet in height. C, no kennel shall be located within 500 feet of a residential district. And D, outside pens must be located a minimum of 50 feet from an intermittent stream and 150 feet from a perennial stream. Conclusion, staff recommends approval of the conditional use request to establish a dog training center with staff recommendations. and the recommended conditions. Should this petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved for a conditional use permit for commercial dog training facility, subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. And 1, to the owner's agreement to abide by the following development standards. A, prior to the release of a business license, you must provide a copy of an approved fire inspection from the Newton County Fire Marshal to Development Services and complete an annual fire inspection from Newton County Fire Services. B, prior to any construction, addition of, or removal of walls within the suite or suites, the applicant must apply for all required building permits. C, obtain environmental health approval before the issuance of a business license. D, prior to the release of the business license, provide a parking plan to the Development Services Department for review and approval. And condition number 2, you must obtain an approved variance to Section 510-060AC of the 2020 Unified Development Ordinance of Newton County. 3, you must submit and maintain state licenses from Georgia Department of Agriculture and submit yearly to Development Services upon renewing the business license. And 4, if continued use is desired, the applicant must come back before the Planning Commission after 2 years of obtaining a business license. And here we have the location of the property off of Highway 36. Zoning map, it is in M1 Light Industrial District. Future land use map, it's mixed use commercial. Watershed is the Yellow River. This is a survey that was submitted. And this is a street view of the current building in the yard. And we have the aerial view close up. And if there are any questions, and I believe the applicant is present, Chairman.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and open it up for our public hearing.
Okay.
Thank you so much. It is approximately 7:44. This is the opportunity we allow the applicant and those in favor 10 minutes to speak. If you would, please come on up now and state your name and your address for the record, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Cheryl Freeman. I represent Mr. Damon Clemens. The address is 1182B Washington Street. Mr. Clemens is requesting a conditional use permit to establish a dog training facility at the location. The dog training facility will be strictly for dog training. There will be no overnight boarding at the location. A little bit about Mr. Clemens. He's been in the dog training business since 2015. He has numerous certifications from the Department of Agriculture. He has pet license as well as kennel license. His previous location was in the city of Covington, where he was voted Best of Newton for years 2018, 2020, 2021, and 2022. So we would ask that you would approve the conditional use permit with the recommended conditions by the board. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Anyone else like to speak in favor tonight? Anyone else like to speak in favor tonight? That portion of the public hearing is closed. We also allow 10 minutes for those that would like to oppose tonight. You may come at this time. Please state your name and your address for the record, please. Anyone would like to oppose tonight? Anyone like to oppose tonight? That portion of our public hearing is closed as well. Ms. Applewhite, if you would, please come on back up. I think this is in District 5. Commissioner Cowan.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to approve conditional use permit 22-000004 with the recommended conditions.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a second? Thank you, Commissioner. It's, motion by Commissioner Cowan, second by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Next,
Thank you,
Mr. Applewhite.
Our next case this evening, it's a rezoning case, and there is a companion case to it today as well, a special exception. So the rezoning case is REZ 22-000003. It's located at 12862 Brown Bridge Road on 2.3 acres. It's tax ID 13-086. It is located in the Salem Overlay District, Tier 3. The existing zoning is R2, single-family residential. The existing land use map is development node. The proposed zoning is neighborhood commercial, CN. It is located in the Yellow River watershed in Commissioner District 3. And our petitioner today is Stephen Jones from Taylor English Duma LLP. So the history on May 24th, 2022, the Planning Commission recommended approval by a vote of 2-1. And the applicant's intent is to establish a convenience store with gas pumps and a tenant space. Subject site and surrounding areas. So the subject site is a total of 2.3 acres in R2 single-family residential district located on the north side of Brown Bridge Road and adjacent to the Goodyear Auto Repair. And the parcel is located in the Salem Overlay District, Tier 3 Town Center, and future land use map shows it as a development node. Her property is currently undeveloped, vacant land. And that just goes over. So the site plan analysis, based on the site plan submitted on January 31, 2022 by the applicant to the Department of Development Services, staff offers the following consideration. The applicant is proposing to build a 5,400 square foot building, which includes a 4,000 square foot convenience store with gas pumps and a canopy, and a 1,400 square foot tenant space. And the gas pumps and the canopy are in the front of the building with delivery truck turnaround in the rear of the building. And while the site plan does not include a detention pond area, based on the current topography of the site, staff recommends and has conditioned the property to have its detention in the rear. The site plan does not include inter-parcel connectivity to adjoining properties. Best planning practices have shown where inter-parcel connectivity allows for better vehicle travel to other adjoining uses. Staff has added this as a condition of zoning as well. And development in the area reflects the land use plan and is consistent with the applicant's request. Conclusion. The proposed commercial use is consistent with the policies and intent of the Salem overlay and with the approved zonings in the area. Given the land use and zoning designations of the surrounding properties and meeting the intent of section 460-020 of the Salem overlay, there is justification for approval of this rezoning. Recommended conditions. Should this petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved, CN Neighborhood Commercial Conditional, subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. 1, to the owner's agreement to abide by the following development standards. A, provide satisfactory ingress and egress to be approved by the county engineer. Improvements may include, but are not limited to, a left turn lane, deceleration lane, and acceleration lane. B, to the extent possible, provide inter-parcel connectivity with adjoining properties. Any relief from inter-parcel connectivity must be submitted to the Director of Development Services in writing for consideration. C, detention pond shall be in the rear of the property. D, overnight parking of commercial vehicles on the lot is prohibited. E, all roofs shall be of neutral in color and must blend with other roofs in the area, subject to the approval of the Director of Development Services. F, exterior of any building shall be primarily brick with tile, stone with weathered, polished, or fluted face, textured cement stucco, architectural concrete masonry, with fluted split face or broken face finish. Portland cement plaster and lat systems. Architectural, either precast or tilt up. Concrete, either fluted or with exposed aggregate finish or fiber cement board. The brick shall substantially match the colors of those used by Publix and Walmart at the intersection of Brownbridge Road and Salem Road, subject to the approval of the Director of Development Services. G, submit appropriate plans or plats, including a stormwater plan, to be reviewed and approved by Development Services, Public Works, Newton County Fire Services, Newton County Water and Sewer Authority, and the GSWCC. And here we have an aerial view. This is the lot where the intended location will be. Existing zoning. Map it. The existing zoning is actually residential. The overlay tier, Salem Tier 3. Future land use map is a development node. The watershed, Yellow River. This is the concept plan that was submitted. And elevation renderings that were submitted by the applicant. And if there are any questions, I don't believe the applicant is present, Chairman.
Thank you. It is approximately 7:53. We're going to open it up for the applicant and those in favor tonight. You have 10 minutes to speak. If you would, please state your name, your address for the record, please. The applicant and those in favor tonight.
Chairman, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Wow, I was a little close to that mic. Sorry about that. My name is Stephen Jones. I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicant and the Beal Group of Companies with the law firm of Taylor English Duma. My address is 1600 Parkwood Circle, Suite 200, Atlanta, Georgia, 30339. Staff's presentation is spot on. Staff's recommendation and analysis is spot on. The Planning Commission's recommendation and analysis is spot on. Tonight, we'll ask you to vote consistent with those recommendations for approval. And the applicant consents to and stands behind staff's recommended conditions, as well as the Planning Commission's recommended conditions. Rather than reiterate the analysis that staff just went through, I'll touch on some of the high points that staff didn't have the chance to touch on. So Nabil Group of Companies, the applicant, is an operator of Class A convenience stores with gas pumps in the metro Atlanta area. They have upwards of 24 stores operational or on the ground in the metro Atlanta area. The closest to this site, they have a site over on 138 in Conyers, but outside of Conyers. The cell phone's interrupting me, Chairman, sorry.
Guys, we're going to ask you, if you will, please put your cell phones on silent, please. Greatly appreciate it.
And Chairman, at the law, can I reserve the remainder of my time for rebuttal?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You sure can. It's 8 minutes, 46 seconds.
Not done, but I just wanted to say that I'll reserve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, didn't get that in the opening. So if you take a look at the staff report that's before you, and also as a procedural matter, I believe Mr. Jogsetter's got, we supplemented our application with a letter and standard objections, as you're familiar with. If you didn't get a copy, I've brought additional supplements as well. But I see Patrick nodding his head, so he's got it. If you look at the staff report, staff's gone through the four exclusive factors by which a application of this nature is evaluated, and those are A through G, and staff finds that those cumulatively all support approval of this request. It being in Salem Overlay Tier 3, as well as the development and the zoning of surrounding parcels. So with all that, we would ask that you approve this application. If you have any questions or concerns, be happy to address those at this time, and we'll yield the remainder of my time for rebuttal.
Thank you. It's approximately 7:46:68. Thank you, sir. We will reserve that time.
Chairman, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak in favor, please? Thank you. Now we're going to open it up for those that want to oppose tonight. You also have 10 minutes to come tonight. If you would, please state your name and your address for the record, please. Anyone want to oppose tonight?
My name is Carla Daniels Hooper, 45 Carmody Circle, Covington, Georgia, 30016. I've been a resident of Newton County for over 20 years. Once again, a developer has sent a representative who was not a part of the community meeting that our commissioner graciously put on for us. Had he been at that meeting, he would have heard the concerns of the community, the fact that we are not opposed necessarily to the rezoning, but we do not want yet another gas station. The research shows, and you can look this up in the Environmental Law Reporter, there are several studies that show that the emissions that come from gas stations and the trucks that come and put the gases in the tanks, they have been connected to carcinogens that cause leukemia and other forms of cancer. We've already stated there's a daycare center that is less than a quarter of a mile nearby. I heard today that they're wanting to put a retention pond in the back, which is where that daycare center is located. I'm really concerned about the environmental impact of the area that is already saturated with the 9 gas stations. There is another developer that is not presented today that's even looking to put another gas station on Salem Road, which will be 11. This is happening in other counties as well. We asked the developer if he would work with us to bring in a restaurant of our choice because he mentioned that he does have connections with restaurants and healthy grocery stores. It's disappointing that he's not here tonight to come together with the community to meet our needs. And yet again, an attorney is here that wasn't a part of those meetings. So we ask you again to work with the community and work with us to give us safe things that we require. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please state your name and your address for the record, please.
Ann Newhurl, I live on Ivan Circle in Covington, Georgia. Everything she said, plus I'd like to speak to the Salem overlay. As part of the layout, the picture we just saw, the drawings we just saw are outside of the guidelines of the Salem overlay. We are trying very hard to look like a community, not a parking lot. And to have all that asphalt right on Brown Bridge Road is not consistent with Salem overlay. Furthermore, we don't need another gas station. We sure don't need another convenience store. All the gas stations that are on that corner already have convenience stores, plus we have Publix and Walmart, and we have the 2 drugstores that carry food supplies. I appreciate entrepreneurs wanting to build businesses and to have income. Certainly, gas sales are providing someone with a large income lately, as we all know, because we're paying it. We don't need it. And it's your job as commissioners to watch over our community and uphold the standards that we are trying to develop because we love living here. Thank you.
Thank you much. Anyone else?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Theresa Waters. I live at 90 Chandler Fields Drive in Covington, Georgia, 30016. Once again, I will reiterate to Chairman Baines and to the committee everything these women have said. We were in that meeting, developers were not there. We do not need another gas station. I alone have counted, I have been in healthcare as of December 10th, 45 years. The carcinogens, as she spoke of, is not good for our environment. We do not need another gas station. So I am just standing with them. Please do not approve for another gas station to be placed within our district, which is not good for our health-wise. And we are looking for things that will come to our community that would better us, better restaurants, better stores, food, not fast food, not Dunkin' Donuts, not chips. I work every day where I see children with high blood pressures and diabetes before the age of 10. And this is uncalled for. So we ask that you stand with us, the residents of District 3, and do not approve for continuing pollution of our air. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Good afternoon. My name is Mia Johnson. I live at 70 Highgate Trail, Covington, Georgia, 30016. I've been there over 21 years. And I concur with all the ladies. We don't need another gas station. We do need a community service. Something like that would benefit our kids, but a gas station will not benefit our kids. First of all, they're gonna go in, they're gonna have a license that they don't have, they're gonna get beer, they're gonna get this, they're gonna get that, cigarettes, all the things that they don't need. Yes, gas stations are making money, a whole lot of money, and people can't even afford the gas. We need something that's gonna build a community, not tear the community apart. Our roads cannot handle any more stations over there. Brown Bridge and Salem Road, it takes you 45 minutes to an hour just to get down that road on a daily basis. We need the roads widened. We need other things other than gas stations. I'm not against the people trying to make their monies, but I am for the people trying to survive. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, Commissioners. My name is still Gladstone Nicholson of Highgate of Lakeside Circle. Of course, I second all the comments that you've heard. I've seconded and made comments at the planning board meeting in this regard. And I didn't hear what was the vote in the planning board for this request. Can you tell me what that is? What was the vote to approve it? 2-1. So that means 3 folks. Yes. That means there are 2 planning board members who were not there. I hope you'll take that into consideration. I've been to several planning board meetings, and courts have a quorum, but they do not have a full attendance making these decisions. Now, you as elected officials can override what they said. You as elected officials need to listen to what your constituents are saying. You commissioners, as I said, are elected, and you need to listen to the voice of the people. If the voice of the people says one thing, I don't think it would be good government to oppose it just for the profits. And again, what's been testified tonight has a suggestion, or maybe stronger, maybe a stronger statement that the gas station is not needed for all the reasons that they stated. I probably shouldn't bother to go into them again, but I'm sure you heard their comments. And as I said, I do pray that you will do what elected officials do and listen to your constitution, your constituents. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Thank you. I'm going to open it back up for rebuttal, sir. You.
Information officer, could you please put up the PowerPoint as well? I believe Ms. Hernandez added that to the back of the deck.
You have 7 minutes and 46 seconds.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners. Again, appreciate the opportunity to be before you. I am here today I'm going to address some of the things you heard in opposition, and then talk more about the request. Ms. Applewhite pulls up PowerPoint. I am here today on behalf of the applicant. I'm the applicant's representative, and I have handled this application from start to finish. I was on the community meeting that was referenced and have participated in it. Like I said, have participated with this application from start to finish. But one thing about the community meeting that one of the ladies referenced is there was a request for a restaurant in this area or on this property, which is outside the confines of your zoning standards, and the question that's before you tonight, but trying to be a good neighbor and a good business person and enter the community with the right foot forward, we actually offered to the community for the tenant space to be held open exclusively for a period of months for a restaurant of the community's choosing, because we understand that folks don't apparently want fast food or anything like that in this area. And we've actually found a couple prospective tenants, a Mediterranean restaurant, a sit-down hamburger place, and again, we offered that as a olive branch or an opportunity to try to be a good neighbor and a good business person, and again, come into the community with the right foot forward. So we did hear those concerns, and we did our best to address them. However, I will direct you back to your staff report, and if you look at the staff report and you look at the Planning Commission's recommendation, the analysis of those zoning factors, and the question that before you tonight is whether this property is properly zoned as R2 or whether it's more properly zoned as a commercial zoning district such as CN. If you look at the county's future land use map, as well as the Salem overlay, as well as consistent zoning decisions of this board and development in the area, and again, the staff report and the Planning Commission recommendation, all those things overwhelmingly point towards one unavoidable conclusion, that rezoning this property from R2 to CN is appropriate. On the issue, someone mentioned environmental concerns. If you look at your staff report, you'll see that the staff concluded that that is not the case. Also, there was a comment about there being too many gas stations in the area. If you'll look in the Salem overlay, there's a shell at the northwest portion of the intersection, and my laser pointer's not working, but that's a Shell gas station on the northwest corner. As part of GDOT's widening of Salem Highway, that gas station's going away. This convenience store with gas pumps and restaurant tenant space is intended to replace that gas station in the overlay. So we're not talking another gas station, we're talking the same amount of gas stations. Finally, I want to talk to you about the applicant. And if you've been in the area there or in the overlay, the Salem overlay, there are a variety of grades of gas stations, and I think we all acknowledge that. I want to show you the grade of gas station, the closest one to this that the applicant owns and operates. And this is off Conyers. If you get off the interstate, head towards McDonough and keep going till you get to the Sonic. It's right there on the right. This is a new facility, and this is Class A. As you can see, the applicant takes pride and, again, operates only Class A facilities. This one's a little different. The applicant operates his own food service facility inside this store, but it also has a kitchen space, and it is of comparable size. So I just wanted to touch on that. To orient you just a little bit, this is directly across the street from the Walmart on Browns Bridge and directly next to the tire store. Brown Bridge and the properties around it are all transportation and vehicle oriented. If you'll look right here, this is heading into town on Salem Road. You'll see the Goodyear on the left, the Walmart on the right, and the subject property in the foreground further on the left. This is your Salem overlay. As you'll see, this entire node has been designated for commercial, which makes this request consistent with the overlay. Same with this is the existing zoning map. You'll see that all the properties within the overlay, and you'll similarly zoned, and you'll see the development and this board zoning trend pushing those rezonings out towards the Salem overlay, consistent with this board's planning as set forth in its comprehensive plan, its future land use map, and the Salem overlay. This is an overlay, a site, and here are some illustrative renderings. I'll take you back to the applicant's other store. Like I said, all the factors point in favor of rezoning. All the objective criteria point in favor of rezoning. So with that, I'd ask you to vote consistent with all of that and adopt staff's recommendation and the Planning Commission's recommendation and approve with staff's recommended conditions. I do thank you for your time and the opportunity to appear before you. If you have any questions, I'd like to use the remainder of my time to address those.
Thank you, sir. If you could mark that 2 minutes and 52 seconds. Thank you, sir.
Any questions? Is it okay?
Let me
Do
get
what
a
you gotta
motion.
do.
Yeah, let me get a
ask you
motion
some
from
questions.
Commissioner, Ms. Applewhite, if you would, please come on up. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
If you could, sir, if you could, can you hang around for a quick second? Commissioner Sanders, I think this is District 3.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jones, and I want to thank all the citizens who actually keep me alert and informed of what you want in your community. I am a commissioner that goes with my community and I listen, and sometimes we may butt heads, but I also listen to what you have to say. I did host a town hall. I host a town hall every 4th Monday of the month and have developers and so forth come on that town hall. Mr. Jones was actually on that town hall. But also on that town hall were residents who lived in the area, myself 16 years, but it wasn't about me. It's about the other residents, some 20 years and some plus years in the community. And they expressed what they wanted. They expressed what they want to see in their community. And I asked the question to a lot of developers and many people that come up here, do you have 14 gas stations in your subdivisions? Are you around your area? I always ask that question. Do you have that in your area? Would you want this to be in your area, just to be fair? I want to just show you something. Chick-fil-A, Walmart, Taco Bell, CVS, Walgreens, McDonald's, Zaxby's coming about, Popeyes, Wendy's, the gas station that's also at Walmart, and across the street to Circle K. And as he mentioned, the other Shell station is going away, but another developer actually came up to build another gas station, which is going to be about on the schedule. So we look at all of that and we speak about traffic on Salem Road. Not only Salem Road, Brown Bridge. We're trying to find the dollars right now to expand Brown Bridge, which we have not found or located at this particular moment. And so as a resident that lives in District 3, as a resident that lives in Newton County, I'm not just a commissioner, I'm a taxpayer. And I also say that it's too many gas stations. I have a notice from a young lady who has a facility for veterans where she treats PTSD and so forth. And bringing about these various things affects those patients that's in that area. So we have to think about, and I hope the commissioners also look as well, what we're bringing into those areas. And I know many of you don't live in the area, but I do. And these citizens these residents that just came up there do live in the area. And so I ask, I'm gonna make a motion to deny the zoning for case number, whatever you stated earlier, case number, I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me right now, case number 00005, or was it one?
It is
003.
Three.
In regards to the motion that I just made, I'm moving to deny, making a motion to deny.
Let me, it's REZ.
REZ
22 000003.
Three, yes.
Can I get a second, please? It's been motioned by Commissioner Sanders and second by Commissioner Henderson. Discussion. Commissioner Cowell.
Thank you. Let me get the lawyer back up there. You got on this site plan, you've got a truck turnaround area in the back? Big trucks, 18-wheelers, is that what you're talking about?
This is just a delivery zone. It is a truck turnaround delivery area for correct, delivery
So it could
vehicles.
be 18-wheelers?
Correct. I mean, that is what delivers gas. Your staff has also recommended interparcel connectivity, so you'll see that faint blue line on the plan up there. If approved, will push through and provide that parcel connectivity as well.
Okay. All right, so you got truck turnaround right there, but you've only got one entrance into this place?
That's correct.
I don't like that design. You can't take an 18-wheeler and big trucks like that and just bring them in one place. You're going to have accidents. They need to redesign this thing.
It is a conceptual, correct. It's a
terrible design.
It's a conceptual site plan, and once we provide the interparcel connectivity, the trucks won't have to turn around. They can pull through to the ring road that's back there and will be back there.
Who owns that property next door? Y'all got a commitment to do that?
Well, your staff has a condition that we provide easements and design for interparcel access.
You bought the easements already?
That we provide on our site. So there's a parcel to the north of this as well, which is also in the Salem overlay.
But is there an easement to the lot that you're going to be using?
No. What the staff's condition is to provide access so that when the further Salem overlay is developed.
You hope to provide access if you're able to get an easement, right?
It's for us to provide access to the interior parcel so that traffic could flow through as the Salem overlay is developed and there's further development.
Okay, but either way,
to the
you've
north
got
of Brown
one
Bridge.
way in and one way out.
That's going to be dictated
Right.
on the conceptual site plan, that's correct. But the actual site plan, the curb cuts, on-site, off-site improvements, A-cell, D-cell lanes, all traffic components that you're referencing are going to be dictated by your transportation department at the time of land disturbance permit and the time the civil engineers design the site. So actually the number of cuts as well as the vehicular movement is governed by and will be dictated by your traffic department or your transportation department. So really, this is just a conceptual site plan. At the time of rezoning, we're really talking about the change in the zoning district from the residential zoning district to the commercial zoning district. Once that decision, and if this board approves that decision, then when it goes to site design and engineering, our civil engineers as well as your transportation engineers will get together in head shed and figure out how best this site can work. And even after zoning, there's always the potential that for whatever reason, the nuts and bolts of the engineering don't work out. So again, this is just a concept plan to show you a illustrative layout of what it might look like. The actual site plan gets fully designed when the site is engineered, and that is the standard process.
Okay, if we approve the zoning to CN, or neighborhood commercial, and you're not able to get another curb cut, what you gonna do?
So that's, again, that is dictated by the civil engineers. So if the engineers and the traffic studies. Sir?
What kind of use are you gonna put on the property?
So again, we are the contract purchaser for the property. If, for instance, the engineering didn't work out, we likely would not close on the property. But
So
the
y'all
decision.
haven't closed on this yet?
No, we're the contract purchaser for zoning, which is a fairly standard practice. Pardon?
I wouldn't waste my money if I was you.
Well, we think the site can work, and again, the question before you is whether this parcel is properly zoned as a residential parcel.
It don't work as a residential. I agree with the zoning. It ought to go to CN, but you're not gonna be able to get that plan on there.
Commissioner, can you speak in the mic?
I said, I agree with it ought to be neighborhood commercial, because you need to start downsizing from the high-density commercial down as it goes down. It needs to transition down. But you're not going to be able to get this plan to work on that site.
And I understand that, which is, your opinion is actually more reason to vote for approval with staff's recommended conditions, because staff has a recommended condition that the design and development of the site be consistent with the determination of your transportation department, which is done on an objective analysis using traffic analysis inputted into a GDOT standard.
Well, here's my other concern, is that every time we do a zoning, and somebody says, I got this great plan, we're gonna come in there and we're gonna do this, we're gonna build this, we redo the zoning, and then they change it, and they do something else, like you're gonna have to do. So if we do this to CN, and you're not able to build this, you're gonna build something else there. Or if you close on it, I wouldn't recommend you close on it, but that's, I'm just a closing attorney, I don't know. What do I know? I wouldn't recommend you buy it, but that's up to y'all. That's just how I feel about it. I just don't think that plan's gonna work with that one entranceway. You're not gonna have, you ever drove an 18-wheeler? I have done that. And you just ain't gonna be able to make that, you're creating a problem here. And we're supposed to have designs that don't create problems, but this is a problem.
And I understand, but again, it's just a concept plan. It will go to engineering if it doesn't
But it's what you
pencil
gave
out.
us to vote on the zoning. That's the thing. I mean, that's how I feel about it.
Well, guys, listen, I'm gonna call for the vote, because we can do this, I'll go back and forth all night. So,
Everybody else may have a question, I don't know.
yeah.
I don't want them to spend the money to buy the lot.
Oh, I don't have a problem with that.
I don't want to mess up, I don't want to get in trouble with your seller either.
Yeah. Well, let's raise our hand and see what we got. So there's a motion to deny tonight, and a second by Commissioner Henderson. All in favor? They stand denied. Thank you. Hey, guys. Ms. Applewhite. Yes, ma'am. We're ready.
Okay, Chairman, our final case today is actually an appeal case. It's an appeal to what was a companion case, a special exception for the rezoning that was just heard. So it's It is APP 22-000001. The original case number was OSPEC 22-000001. And as I said, it was a companion to the case that was just heard, the rezoning case. The name of the applicant is Stephen L. Jones. Property owner is Camp Services, Inc. The original applicant was also Stephen L. Jones, and the property address is 12862 Brown Bridge. And it is tax ID 13-86, and it's located in District 3. The appeal request, it's appeal to the Planning Commission's decision, which was denied at the May 24th, 2022 meeting, to be allowed to have more than 66 feet of pavement between the frontage landscape and the primary structure. And the original request, the special exception, it was a request to allow more than 66 feet of pavement between the frontage landscape and the primary structure. The applicable standards, they were requesting relief to section 460050, subsection J, parking. 2, off-street parking, subsection B. Except as provided herein, parking shall be located on-site, to the side and rear of the building, or off-site as allowed in Division 515, provided the parking space is within a 1,000-foot distance and clearly marked for community use. Subsection I, commercial properties are limited to 66 feet of pavement, permitting 2 rows of parking spaces and a vehicle lane between the frontage landscape strip and the primary structure. Parking in the front of a structure shall not exceed more than 2 spaces beyond the end of the facade of the primary structure, and the remainder of the parking shall be in the side or rear. And the purpose of the request is to develop a convenience store with gas pumps and a tenant space within the Salem Overlay District. The size of the property is 2.3 acres. Present zoning is R2, single-family residential overlay. Present use is undeveloped, vacant lot. Potential effects on the overlay. It could weaken the purpose and intent of the overlay to create a more livable and walkable Salem Road area. Tier 3 of the Salem overlay is primarily a more intense commercial area that promotes mixed-use development and features that encourage walkable development. Conclusion to findings, given the existing land uses and the zonings in the immediate surrounding area, staff is of the opinion that the proposed relief could be appropriate for the subject site. Staff, however, believes that the site design can be improved to better reflect the intent and standards of the overlay. Staff has not identified any substantial potential adverse impacts that would affect neighboring properties in the overlay. And recommended conditions, should the request be approved, staff recommends the board approve the application with the following conditions. 1, comply with the remaining requirements of the overlay. And we have the same aerials. This is the zoning. We have the overlay tier 3. The future land uses development node, watershed, Yellow River, and of course a concept plan and our renderings.
Thank you, ma'am. It is approximately 8:28. We're going to open it up for the public hearing. The applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight, they have 10 minutes to do so. You may come at this time, the applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight.
Chairman, Commissioners,
Yes,
long
sir.
time, no
Yes,
talk. Thank you for, as always, the opportunity to come up here and talk to y'all. This is the companion application to the rezoning application that you just heard. Your staff laid it out perfectly. Based on your decision in the prior one, I don't know that we have a lot to talk about because this application was, they were companion applications, right? So with the rezoning denied, I don't know that we have a ton to hash out here. We do believe that the evidence presented weighs in favor of approving this, as do all the factors and the analysis of those factors set out in your zoning ordinance, which there's an analysis in the materials that we submitted in our letter of intent. I'll stand behind those at this meeting. I also stand behind the staff's analysis of those factors. Just like the last application, we support and consent to the applicant supports and consents to staff's recommended conditions. And for the record, since I am back up here, my name again is Stephen Jones, law firm of Taylor English Duma, LLP, on behalf of the applicant and the Beal Group of Companies. My address is 1600 Parkwood Circle, Suite 200, Atlanta, Georgia, 30339. So with that, again, I'll incorporate all of our written materials that we've submitted for you, stand behind staff's recommendation, ask you to approve it as, again, the evidence weighs in favor of support. Thank you very much. I'll reserve the remainder of my time for rebuttal, if that's okay, Chairman.
Yes, sir. 8 minutes, 26 seconds.
That was quick.
Yep.
And if you have any questions on this application, be happy to answer those now.
Thank you. Now we're gonna ask for more, see if anyone else have any thing they would like to say. Anyone else would like to speak in favor, please? Anyone else would like to speak in favor? All right. Now we're gonna allow the ones that want to oppose tonight. If you would, please come tonight, state your name and address for the record, please. You have 10 minutes to do so. You may come at this time. Anyone may come at this time. Don't come, y'all. Don't come. Don't come. Don't come. Don't come. Don't come.
Carla Daniels Hooper, 45 Carmody Circle, Covington, Georgia, 30016. This is actually, just for the record, again, there are several citizens who are opposing this gas station, but I also want to make a public comment because I'm kind of emotional. What I just saw Commissioner Cowan do just warmed my heart. We are just regular citizens. We don't understand all the ins and outs of these zonings. This is what we asked for. We elect you because you have the expertise. All we want is a safe place to eat, safe environment for our children. And it is frustrating to hear the attorneys give their attorney language, and people think I'm an attorney, I just think like one sometimes, but I'm not. What you did, sir, thank you. Please continue to ask the questions that we just don't know to ask, and if we knew, we would ask them. So we do want to be one Newton. We want to be one Rockdale County. We want to bring more things so we don't have to keep going down to Fulton County for a nice restaurant, for a Whole Foods and a Trader Joe's, right? Newton County, Rockdale, DeKalb, we're all asking for the same things, y'all. So let's really be the one Newton that I know we are in our hearts, because our children want it. We don't have anywhere to go, gas is too high. So let's bring the restaurants, the nice restaurants. No more Dunkin' Donuts, burgers, you know. We know what we want. So I just want to say thank you. And I'm sure many of us want to say thank you as well.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Theresa Waters, Chairman Bain and Committee. Theresa Waters, 90 Chandler Fields Drive, Covington, Georgia, 30016. I second the motion of my neighbor of everything that she says. Once again, I will iterate. We're looking to teach our kids about nutrition, portion control, how to select, how to eat out, and not bag of chips and hamburgers. Hamburger is not one of the 4 basic food groups. Take a nutrition class. Our kids like more than hamburgers. We want to teach them about vegetables and portion control, and they have these things in their own community that we don't have to take them out. We want to rotate our dollars to stay within our community and not always have to go out our community to receive and teach them. So I ask of you, the Planning Commission denied this petition a vote of 3-0 on May the 24th, 2020. I ask that you vote 5-0, that you unanimously deny this offer once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Once again, my name is Mia Johnson. I live at 70 Highgate Trail, Covington, Georgia, 30016, 21 years. I used to work in Newton County, and I enjoyed my employment here for Newton County. And I love living in Newton County, and nobody can't run me out. I used to work in a convenience store, by the way. And I can tell you this, when he pulled that big 18-wheeler in there with one way in and one way out, that thing is gonna be parked all the way across that building. So if an emergency happened there, there's no help for us. And he's gonna have to back that big thing out into the middle of the street. And guess what? That street is so busy, I don't know how he's gonna get out. And that street is busy 24/7, 7 days a week. Brown Bridge and Salem Road. People are leaving the area because they can't get up and down the street. When I came here, you could get up and down that road easily. Now, an hour, 30 minutes, you work downtown and you need to leave your house an hour and a half early just to get to work. That's crazy. And yes, gas is too high. It's almost $7. I'm not rich. I don't work for Newton County anymore. So guess what? I can't afford this gas. And we need the prices to drop. So the more gas stations, the higher the prices. The less money Newton County gonna have, their people gonna have to spend on other things. We need other things in Newton County than gas stations. How about a community garden? We need positive things, and this is not gonna help our community. And I know the tax money is good, but guess what? We can get tax money on something else. And it represents everybody in the county. If you don't live in that area, it's not gonna affect you. But when you live there and you got a 12-year-old, a 9-year-old, an 8-year-old, it affects them. I have a 12-year-old, and I don't want her running into everywhere she go, a gas station. And like they said, I'm tired of McDonald's, I'm tired of Burger King, I'm tired of all those same places to eat. And yes, I am plus size, and it don't come from eating at Burger King and McDonald's. Okay? So we're gonna back up off that. I'm not trying to be funny, but you need something that represents our county in a better manner. This county can do better, and I hope y'all vote for it to do better.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
Gladstone Nicholson, once again, commissioners. I pray you all listen to those forceful voices of our neighbors from District 3. I'd like to say we're a powerful community, a powerful district. Even though we have the same number of folks as all the other districts, I think we're powerful to the highest level, to the highest degree. And I thank you very much for hearing those voices. Now, you were thanked, Ronnie, Commissioner Cowan, about your perceptiveness from real estate. And I must tell you, Commissioner Stan, at the planning meeting, your planning board member made some very astute points on this, what's being appealed now. He probably did the same thing that Ronnie did tonight, because he gave the community the idea or the insight that we needed to say, hey, we can win this thing. Not just because it's our desire to not see it done, but the law is on our side. The ordinance is on our side. And I pray that you will easily vote no to deny this request. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? We're going to open it. Mr. Jones, would you like to rebuttal?
Just briefly, Chairman.
Okay.
Chairman, Commissioners, again, thank you for your time tonight, your service. This application is an appeal from the Planning Commission's denial of a request to allow more than 66 feet of pavement from the back of curb to the principal structure, the convenience store. Now, had you approved the rezoning, that would have permitted alleviation of a lot of the concerns that you've actually heard about traffic, maneuverability, things of that nature. What the request is that in 66 feet, you can't have enough room for maneuverability of things such as 18-wheelers, of folks coming to get gas, of folks just within a typical gas station convenience store layout. So that's what this request is. And I'll, again, stand behind your staff's analysis and our letter of intent submitted showing that all the evidence points to the fact that you just can't make it work. And so for that reason, we'd ask you to approve it, because that's what the evidence shows, is that it needs to be varied to alleviate the hardship, assuming, of course, that the rezoning had been approved. Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners, for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Patrick.
Ms. Applewhite. I think this is in District 3 again, Commissioner Sanders.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the Planning Commission denied the petition by a vote of 3-0, we as the Board of Commissioners put our residents, our neighbors in place so we can hear from the community. And that's why they are placed on, we appoint them to be put on the Planning Commission. So today, my motion is to deny the appeal case number APP 22-00001.
Can I get a second, please? It's been motioned by Commissioner Sanders that we deny this, and second by Commissioner Henderson. Thank you, sir. Any discussion? All in favor? Stand denied. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Applewhite. Next, we're going to go back to finance. Ms. Brittany If you would, please come on up.
Thank you. Tonight I have a budget transfer in front of you for a donation that the Animal Services Department received of $7,124. This donation is to be utilized to go toward the surgery suite that they are currently constructing, and the surgery suite funding is housed in the Capital Improvement Fund. So this transfer will just be moving the money from the general fund to the Capital Improvement Fund. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Let me get a motion. I seek a motion, please. Can I get it's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thanks. Thank you, ma'am.
I got one more thing.
Okay. Number 13.
Number 13 is the selection of the ARPA consultant. There was a committee put together that consisted of James Brown, our Water Resources Director, Chester Clegg, our Transportation Director, Kathy Davis, our Grants Coordinator, and myself. And there were 8 bids that were placed for the ARPA consultant. We narrowed it down to 3. We conducted interviews with those 3. There were 2 that were potential, and really it just came down to price. So we would like to award the contract to a company called I think it's iParametrics is the way that they pronounce that. And the contract would be $420,000, and that would span over the course of the full ARPA time frame. So it could run until December 31st, 2026 if we so needed it. And are there any questions?
I do. So can you explain what all they'll be doing before we get a motion on the floor?
Pretty much, we narrowed down a few items that we knew we would be looking for, so we knew we would need a company to come in and to assist with the program management side of it, also the reporting side of it. So those are like the 2 main things, but their contract pretty much stated that any services that the county would require. So if we wanted them, they also can design apps. They can make presentations to place on the website to show the citizens how the ARPA funding is being spent. So there's a variety of services that they can offer, and the contract is not to exceed $420,000. So it doesn't necessarily have to be $420,000 if we decide we want to cut back on some of the services. So really it's just depending on what this board is really wanting to utilize. But I know from the financial side, my main goal was to get somebody to come in and help us with the reporting side of it, and then maintaining the information we need from all of the entities that we are providing money from.
What about the guidelines?
The guidelines, yes, the federal guidelines, that's what they would be assisting with the reporting side of it. So they're well-versed in all the ARPA guidelines.
Okay. You can get Mr. Sims.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as far as with the guidelines, I think it would be appropriate for the board to have discussion on making sure we have metrics in place to adhere to you all's decision as far as if there's a dollar amount. Currently, we are receiving all types of applications, and we are receiving applications, requests from in the amount of $5,000 to some of requests $150,000. And I think it would be appropriate for us to have a metric in place to state what dollar amount you all are seeking to approve. Also, I think there should be some other requirements. If you're requiring businesses to have 3 years in existence, that's just an example. But just some criteria in place that we can address the needs of the community with knowing that we have limited amount of resources.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Sanders, you had a question?
Forgive me, I'm looking for, did you guys send us the actual contract or of this business? I haven't seen, have anybody seen anything that they provide or services? So I know you selected one, but I haven't, I'm looking in the book, I haven't seen anything from this company.
Is there not a contract in there?
There's the contract, but it references their proposal, and I don't have their proposal
I would
with
like
me.
to see their qualifications, who they've worked with, because if they've worked with ARPA, they should work with other counties or various municipalities. So I would like to know those details.
Okay.
Because that was not even provided to us, and I don't feel comfortable voting on something I haven't seen.
Okay. I apologize. I did not realize that those did not get attached.
Okay. Well, we did, just so clarity, we did adhere to you all's recommendation as far as having an RFP. We did go through the necessary process of having an RFP out there. As Director White indicated, we had 8 participants who submitted proposals. We narrowed it down to 3, which they interviewed and had to present. And based on those 3 proposals, the committee, as she indicated, a group of the directors that comprised of the committee made the selection of this particular RFP.
Commissioner Sanders.
I know that we want to move forward with the consultant. I agree with that. But I want to make sure that I'm moving forward with the right individuals. I would like to see the top 3 also, and a reason why you selected that. That's just, maybe everybody else may not. I love to read information. I like to see that. So I would like to make a motion to table this until all the information is provided to the commissioners so that we can see the information to properly vote on this. You're saying up to $500,000, that's a lot of money and it's federal dollars. So I want to make sure that I'm doing it correctly. So if we can get those materials and vote, we kind of talked about that last meeting, make sure commissioners have all the information so we can vote properly. So I would like to table this until we receive the documents, if we have to do a special call to vote on it, whatever it may be. But I know I like to be prepared to make sure I'm seeing everything before I vote.
So what your ordinance calls for you to receive, if you elect to do so, is the proposal summaries, the price summaries, and the criteria evaluation forms with results. So that's what the ordinance calls for. And that's by design. It's the RFP process in your policy is by design intended to have the committee as opposed to the board members review all of the underlying information.
So you're saying the board cannot see the company that they're about to approve to pay almost $500,000?
No, it would have you would receive the proposal summary, which is what the proposal was.
Yeah, we haven't received that.
Submitted.
So I would like to see it. I mean, maybe the commissioners, I would like to table it so we can get the proper information.
I'm sorry. You want to ask? I'm sorry, Jarvis. Go ahead.
If that's the board's decision to table, then we would like, if that's the decision, we would be happy to have the information at the next meeting. One of the questions I think you mentioned about the cost, I wasn't aware, but I think this was the lowest cost of the 3 providers. Is that correct?
It was the lowest cost of the 3 finalists, yes.
So what was their actual proposed? Well, I guess I get all that when you send me the information, I guess, yeah.
It's my recollection, and I don't have it with me tonight, my recollection is it's an hourly rate depending on the individuals that are working on it up to that total amount. Yes. So each task could carry with it a different amount. And I think all the proposals were generally like that.
They were, yeah.
They're charging you for the time depending on the task they perform.
I would just like to review it. I just want to make sure that I'm properly voting correctly, and we should have gotten some type of information before we vote on these large amount of funds.
Yeah. Well, let's just table it until our next board meeting. Commissioner Henry, go ahead.
Thank you. Well, is the $500,000 or almost $500,000 that they may receive, is it coming from the $10 million that was, well, it's not quite 10 now, or is it taking in calculation the other, what, $10 or $11 million that we received that, or we still talking about this $10 million?
It will be coming from the ARPA funding.
I understand that, but I think we received the first allocation with $10 million. Am I correct? Somebody help me if I'm wrong. Then, have we received the other 10 million?
We haven't received the second
So
funding yet.
it would be about 4.5 million if we gave them some closer in that number. If we gave them that number, if the board approved and gave it to them. So only thing what I'm saying is I think that great idea. I think the more money we can save, the more we can give out to the community. The needs in the community. That's my take on it. And I agree with.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. And I agree with Commissioner Sanders. I think we need to just take a deep breath, look at the paperwork, then maybe come back at a later date or possibly a call meeting by the chair so we can vote on it or whatever.
All right, Commissioner Edwards. Did you have something?
Yeah, before yours, I want to make one question I think that was hinted at. This proposal was for both the current ARPA allocation and the future ARPA allocation. So this one proposal would cover their consulting services if we need them for current ARPA and the additional ARPA we may get, and it would be paid for out of the ARPA funding.
Correct.
Commissioner Edwards.
Second.
Commissioner Edwards. Okay. Go ahead.
Second.
I'm sorry?
I'm seconding the motion.
Okay, he made a motion. A motion hadn't been made yet, so.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, you did make it? Oh, okay, I didn't hear that, I'm sorry. So it's been, I'll get you in discussion. It's been motioned by Commissioner Sanders and second by Commissioner Edwards that we table this to our next board meeting. Any discussion, Commissioner Henderson?
Thank you, Mr. C. The question I have is, have we allocated the other $10 million on something? Since we, I think we're moving towards using a consultant, so have we sit down and hashed out how we might spend the other as well? Which I don't think we received it as of yet.
No. Okay. Any more discussion? All in favor? It stand table to our next board meeting. Thank you, Brittany. Next, item number 14, Parks and Recreation. Purchase request and approval of change order number 1, a professional service agreement with Better Courts LLC. Mr. Mass is here tonight.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Commissioners. So a couple months ago, y'all approved a contract for the LLC to come in and redo our tennis courts and our basketball courts. So we've got an opportunity to take one of our tennis courts and convert it into 4 pickleball courts. And that's what we're asking tonight, is just for a change order for $7,000 to add 4 pickleball courts to City Pond Park.
Thank you, sir. I seek a motion, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? Commissioner Cowan and then Commissioner Henderson.
Dwayne, you're gonna have to explain to me what pickleball is. I have no
Tennis
idea.
court.
So, it's one of the fastest growing activities of sports in the country. It's kind of a mixture between tennis, table tennis. The court's like 22 by 44. It's a lot smaller. You can still play singles, you can play doubles. But we've got about 65 that show up on Mondays and Thursdays and play pickleball. And right now, we've just got lines taped, and we got portable nets. And we've had a lot of calls about.
So you play with rackets and tennis balls?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a ping pong paddle. It's a little bit bigger.
Yep.
And you use a plastic ball.
You use a basketball?
Plastic.
Oh, plastic.
Plastic. Yep. And it's about the size of a baseball.
I just never heard of it. I mean, I've heard of it, but I never knew what it was.
It's one of the fastest growing activities and sports there right now.
Okay.
So our seniors play on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Turner Lake. We have them set up inside, and
Mr. Sims.
Chairman, I just wanted to recognize Director Mask for bringing this sport to our county. When I met with him, I asked him to be innovative and bring different opportunities to our county. And this is the second the major thing that he's brought to our county. The first thing we talked about a month or so ago was esports, and that's something for our youth. And then now pickleball. So Director Mask is really doing a great job, and I wanted to recognize him for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
we have started esports registration, so,
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. C. Well, it's on the same lines as recreation. I think for about a year and a half or 2 years, going on 2 years, that we had about $150,000 to $200,000 splash money. And we had requested, before we took in the recreation under the Board of Commissioners, therefore, a restroom, a real restroom, rather than a porta potty. We had discussed about a scoreboard, and we had discussed about another pavilion at the community center, and adding use to both of the community centers. And we're wanting those projects to be done, you know, and I don't know what's the holdup is, but I would like for it to be done because there was something that the citizens of District 4 had wanted to be done in a timely manner. And I don't typically complain about rec stuff being done, but when my constituents tell me that they want to see the kickball field being used, when they tell me they wanted not to have to run into the community center, to use the restroom, or can one person go in at a time at the in the porta potty, then we want it to be done. And it's something simple as hiring somebody to come out and do that little bit of work to be done. We know that the money's there, so we want to go ahead, hopefully, and get it done.
Thanks, sir. Any more discussion? Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0.
thank you.
It was a motion. She said. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Next, item number 15, Parks and Recs. Jeff Bryan.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
We bring before you tonight a design-build contract with Sunbelt Builders. An RFP was put out and soliciting design-build services specifically for 3 parks and recreation facilities. One was to renovate the guest restrooms in the Turner Lake Community Center. Secondly was to build and renovate and expand the Stone Road Park concession restroom and scorekeeper building. And then the third was to build a new maintenance facility at the City Pond Park. We had 2 proposers who proposed to us. One was Sunbelt, obviously, and their total fees are $72,200. The other company was BCI, and they came in at $274,000. We went through a complete evaluation of both the technical teams and technical processes along with the analysis of their fees, and Sunbelt is who we are recommending for the board tonight.
Thank you, sir. Guys, I'll seek a motion, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you, sir. Next, item number 16. Is that Mr. Bryan?
Yes, sir. So earlier this year, if you may remember, additional funds were assigned to this particular project to help buy back some scope of work that they needed to have purchased for the facility. This is the culmination of finalizing that scope of work with Sunbelt Builders, the design builder on that, and finalizing their contract. So these amendments are associated with that type of work, and I can get into more detail if I need to on that.
Thank you, sir. I seek a motion, please.
So moved.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson?
Thank you. And thank you, Ms. Jeff, for the work that you do. In these particular projects of what kind of help refresh my memory on these, on this.
So it was a series of different things. What they wanted to do was, in some cases, we wanted to add some doors and door stops. They needed to, in the actual kitchen itself, both the kitchen and also in the large room, We were renovating the floors.
So we're talking about Washington Street?
This is Washington Street Community Center. I'm
Absolutely,
sorry.
okay, thank you.
Right.
Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0, thank you. Next is item number 17. This is Parks and Recs as well. Mr. Prime.
So an RFP was put out soliciting design services for the Spring Hill Community Park. This is a SPLOST 17 project that was approved earlier this year. It also had gone through a very extensive master planning process, working with the community to identify specifically where the property was supposed to go and the elements that would be in that. So we put out a RFP soliciting design services. We received two RFPs. Two proposals. One was from Jericho Design Group, and their total fees for Spring Hill Community Park were $204,750. That included all of the design phase services, bid and award services, permitting, also contract administration services during the construction phase. We also received a proposal from Los Design, and their total was $344,650. After the committee had concluded evaluating both the technical and the fees, Jericho Design Group was ranked number 1, and that's who we are recommending to you for you to award the contract to tonight.
Thank you, sir. I seek a motion, please.
I make a motion to approve the contract with Jericho Design Group.
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Calvin and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. Well, the question that I have, and we're talking about the planning for that park, that probably will be facing, I guess, Lower River Road. In other words, we go up in the property, the planning for the pavilion, the ball fields, et cetera.
Exactly. That's what these services for. And they'll help us put together a set of bid documents that they will put out for bids for contractors.
Thank you.
Yeah, will they do the sewer and water design too?
They're doing civil, utilities, everything. The building designs, everything.
Perfect.
Any more discussion? Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Next is item number 18, Parks and Recs as well. Mr. Bryan.
So, obviously, there's some discussion to be had about this particular element, but what I do want to say is that all that has been done with this project so far is the solicitation of an RFP. There's been no design services conducted. There's been nothing completed other than the fact that I put together the RFP. The history of how I got to where the RFP is today is that earlier this year, I had a meeting with Lloyd, the then commissioner, county manager, to talk about open SPLOST projects that had not been started. Westside Youth Facility was one of those. In that, he reminded me that it had been initialized by a District 3 commissioner, at that time, Commissioner Schultz, and so therefore it was a District 3 project as far as he was concerned. So that's initialized the desire, what I thought was the desire that it would be in that particular district. We then moved forward with, in March, we requested additional unallocated SPLOST funds to be allocated to the project in the amount of $3,755,000. In that discussion, in that work session, we did talk about Fairview Community Park as being the location. I'm not saying we took a vote on it, but we did talk about it. And then in April, my particular task order was awarded, authorizing me to move forward. And in my task order, I listed Fairview Community Park because that's what I was understanding the site was to be. I say all that to say this. That's the history of how we got to this point. But what I'm offering to you is we're going to need a design consultant if the board chooses to want to move forward with looking at additional sites or a different site from Fairview. We're going to have a design consultant on board to help us do that analysis. One of the things that we don't know about this particular project is, and Commissioner Sanders and I have talked about that, we don't know all of the elements and pieces that make up this facility. We have ideas and thoughts, but what this consultant will do is they'll help us go through what we call a building programming process, where they will meet with the stakeholders and they will help determine the elements that make up the building. They'll help us determine what kind of site features this facility will need. And then from that, we could, if the board wanted to, go through a site analysis. And we could look at multiple sites with them, do a complete analysis of those, and bring back to you the report with a recommendation at that point to move forward with it. So if that would be something that would be amenable to helping to keep the process moving, certainly that's something that we could do with this consultant if they are awarded the contract.
Guys, I seek a go ahead.
I want to make sure I put this on record because we have citizens that are sitting out here, and I've been blamed for a lot of stuff. I want to make sure that we reiterate that I did bring an option 2 for land. Can we make sure we put that on record?
The potential property for,
okay.
for the
Just want to make sure
Westside
the
Community
citizens
Park.
heard that.
Right.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. And I never said otherwise.
I just wanted to clarify because I've been thrown under the bus.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't me doing that, yeah.
I seek a motion, please.
I would like to make a motion that we move forward with the design of the Westside Youth Facility.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Sanders and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson first.
Thank you, Ms. C. You know, I've been around for a little while, and I've also served with former Commissioner Schultz, and I'm also I am serving with Commissioner Sanders. And the only thing over in District 3, and I was concerned about it myself, and I'm always concerned about anybody in Newton County, was that we had over there was a little bit of I call it what my daughter said one time we went out there at the groundbreaking, was a baby thing you play with. But little did my daughter know at that particular time we paid about $100,000 for that, and I questioned why did we pay that much money for a little swing over there, and then add, in my opinion, a little more insult to injury, that the fact that we didn't use the recreation department to build it. It was just something put over there, but the recreation department had to go out and service it and keep it up. But when Commissioner Sanders came on board, she wanted to do something better. And I remember one of, if I may say it, I'm gonna say it anyway, she had said that District 3 was a stepchild as far as the board, and that we had passed by doing stuff over in that particular area, and she was on it. We had passed by, not intentionally, but she wanted to make a difference in that community. And I believe that she has, and she came with some good plans, and I think they're good plans. And in my opinion, you know, she's a good commissioner. Thank you, Mr. C.
Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Jeff, for bringing this to our attention. So I just want to know the process that you mentioned. Have you utilized this same process with any other projects that we've actually done previously, or is this the first time we've actually used this process where we're designing something prior to actually having a specific site?
So what I'm recommending to you is that we don't do that. What I'm recommending is a process that I've used with multiple clients multiple times, where we do just enough design, what I call building the programming phase, where we determine the size of the building and the configuration of what that building looks like, and what the site characteristics of that will best serve that particular building. Then we take that and we go through an analysis. We identify potential sites, and we can work with a team or stakeholders that you guys deem necessary. We will then go out and identify these properties, and then we'll analyze them, you know, against a criteria. And that criteria will determine and rank each of those particular sites. we'll bring all of that information back to you as the commission, and you guys can then make a decision of which one of those you'd like to move forward with. And then once we get that information, then then the architect can start moving forward with the complete design and getting it ready to go out for bid.
Right.
That's the process that I'm recommending. Now, obviously, I'm open to other ideas if y'all have that as well.
Right, so what I'm asking is, has that process ever been utilized before on any of the other projects that you've worked on? Have you
Here.
proposed that, correct?
Oh, no, sir, I've not used that process here.
Okay,
No, sir.
thank you.
Commissioner Sanders?
Jeff, what is I know you've been working here longer than I've been a commissioner. What has been the process of selecting land? Has the commissioners voted on where the location has currently been? What is the process has been done normally? Because I don't think we did that for have we done that for Spring Hill, or without identified? I'm not sure. How is that done when the land is selected?
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Spring Hill, there was a splosh amount put in there for a park in Spring Hill, and we looked at several sites, and we involved the citizens out there. We looked at county-owned property. We looked at some property that we would have to purchase, but wasn't really comfortable with that either. The citizens pretty much picked the location.
But guys, but if I'm not mistaken, the board did vote on it. Oh, we had to pull the minutes, but I'm just about sure.
Well, we did. We voted an additional appropriation out of the budget for Spring Hill, and I think at that time we notified the board where that was going to be at.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
Commissioner Edwards?
Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I was about to ask for a recap of where we are. I know, if I recall, early 2021, we took a vote, and I don't recall what that vote was. I need to research that, I guess. But we took a vote on this particular project. I don't know what we decided. I can't remember what we decided. But I want to understand, I need to be zeroed out on where we are with this. This is, do you have to have a location in place for this motion tonight?
No, sir, but what I do need is kind of direction on how you want to move forward with either the site that is listed in the RFP or with a site selection process.
Well, I want to be sure, it'd be wise of us to make sure we had a location nailed down before we move forward with a design, I would think. I just don't know. I've heard citizens speak of a location, and I know we had a opening a couple years ago, a grand opening somewhere. I don't recall exactly. And also, is this a boys and girls club project? I mean, is this a?
No, it's not.
Hey, guys, you're out of order.
Didn't we talk, what did we decide relative to that particular question?
Can I speak on that? We did not vote on the Westside Youth Facility because in 2017, the voters voted on a referendum to approve the Westside Youth Facility. I came and designed a community center, which was brought before all 5 of us through with the Facilities Board Authority. That community center was designed and included senior services, and Jeff saw that community center as well. With senior services, thank you, senior services, it had commercial property, and it had it had a theater, and it had a gym. It was not a youth facility. The vote was in regards to providing splash dollars, $495,000 splash dollars towards the community center. Because it was not the Westside Youth Facility what the voters voted for, those splash dollars could not be utilized for that. And then when we voted the other day, last year was the beginning, when we had that vote, Patrick, we had a vote for the $495 going towards the Westside Youth Facility. When we voted for that, Patrick consulted with me and said, make sure you state It was the Westside Youth Facility because that is what the voters voted for. It was a community center is what I presented, which you also were a part of the facilities board and saw that design. It was not the youth facility.
Would you like to speak to this?
I reviewed minutes. This meeting was, I believe, in February of 2021. And what the discussion centered around was funding for the Westside Youth Facility. And there was a motion made to place the Westside Youth Facility at the Fairview Community Park and to dedicate the funds, whatever the amount of funds was, towards that. That motion failed. During that discussion, it wasn't to allocate funds, it was two parts. It was to build a facility at Fairview Community Park, and there was a substantial amount of discussion about the involvement of the Boys and Girls Club. Exactly. What the county manager at the time indicated was that there had been a significant amount of conversation between the manager and the Boys and Girls Club, that the discussion at the time was that the county would build the shell, the Boys and Girls Club would come out and finish the interior, and run the Boys and Girls Club facility out of that facility. But ultimately, the motion was to direct SPLOST funds for the Westside Youth Facility to the Fairview Community Park, and that motion failed. There was no other motion. So as of this date, the board has not dedicated a specific location for the Westside Youth Facility, nor has the board really made a decision about what that youth facility is. I mean, first of all, to fund the big facility, I believe, is going to require, your SPLOST 17 doesn't have enough funds to do the full facility.
It does not.
So, the new SPLOST, it'll have to make the new SPLOST list, have to get approved by the voters before you can really do anything. So, but as of this moment, there's been no board action to approve any designated site. One site was rejected, but that doesn't mean you can't go back and put it at that site. And there had at that time been discussions about the Boys and Girls Club, but there has been nothing reduced to an agreement, nothing, and likewise nothing voted on by this board. So right now, the Westside Youth Facility, it's a bit of it's a hopeful project. We hope that the big facility will come to fruition, but you don't know for sure. And the board has not taken any steps towards the completion of that project that can't be undone or shifted to another location. So.
Commissioner, that's all your questions? You done? Yeah. You got another? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I think, Patrick, what you just explained is the reasoning why I asked my previous question, have we utilized that process before? I don't want this board to get into a habit of putting the cart before the horse. I want us to make sure that every single project that comes through this board is handled the exact same way. There has not been another project. Spring Hill wasn't handled like that. The skate park wasn't handled like that. Every single project that came before this board, there was an actual location that was designated before we moved to a design phase. I think we don't want to put the cart before the horse. We don't want to get into a design if we don't even know where it's going to be. And so we need to narrow down what location this is going to be. If the citizens and the residents don't want it in Fairview, and we currently have an RFP out there saying it's for Fairview, it's confusing to our residents because they think we're moving forward. They think we're moving forward with the RFP by stating it's going to be at Fairview. So this board needs to correct that. This board needs to get it corrected where it's not an RFP stating it is at a location that is not desired by the residents. We say on this board, we listen to the residents. Let's listen to the residents on this particular issue. Let's not say, oh, I listen to the residents when I want to listen to them. Let's listen to them when it's time to listen to them. This is a matter that the residents have stated It's on an RFP, and they don't want it on that RFP. So we got to correct that as this board to ensure that we have an RFP out there that's not stating a location that the residents don't want. Now, I think it's a great project. It is a needed project. We're not voting against the project itself. We're voting against the actual location. They don't want it at that location. So we got to correct that. And we cannot start a design phase until we know what location we've solidified, which is what we've done in all other projects. And that's all I'm saying. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead. No, well, next is Commissioner Henderson is next. But let's hear what legal got to say, and then we'll come to you, Commissioner.
So item number 23 on your agenda will be a resolution to correct what you did before, to remove any reference to the Fairview Community Park. So that, your comment will be addressed at number 23. What you're considering now, number 18, is not site-specific. But you're right, it is a design contract, but part of a design contract, and Mr. Prine, you stop me when I ramble into your domain. Part of the design services or consulting services for site selection, to make sure that the site you're picked is adequate and appropriate for whatever design you're ultimately going to do. And I would suggest that you want that. You know, one of the things that I don't think you necessarily want is site selection by committee, because without some objective analysis. I mean, ultimately it is site selection by committee, because this board has authority to decide where it goes. But one of the things I think this board does want will be, look, we narrow it down, there are 2 or 3 alternate sites. We want to hear from the experts, the guys that design and build these. Why is this location? What's good about this location? What's good about that location? What are the challenges? So you might very well want some services that it sounds like we've never had before, but you might very well want some professional services to help you locate sites. And that is contained, I think, Mr. Prine, if I'm not wrong, that's contained in the RFP number 18, is it not? The sort of site analysis?
No.
It is not.
Okay.
So basically, it is site-specific in the RFP. Let's just call it what it is. The RFP called it going at Fairview Community Park. So, but what I was saying is that I have spoken with the design consultant, and he feels like there's adequate fee in his scope to cover assisting us in doing a site analysis process. And the fact that what we would want him to participate in is helping us to come up with the criteria of what the site needs to have on it to support a building and facility of this type, so that we can then use that to analyze different properties, and then bring that report back to you for you to analyze and make a decision on which direction you want to move forward with.
Maybe that needs to be different than what's on here. That should be completely different, because this is talking about design.
Commissioner Henderson, go ahead.
Thank you. Wouldn't it's a footprint anytime you design a building of sort. It's a footprint that goes on a piece of property. So you could design the actual building. You just figure out where you might want to put it on a piece of property. And I know that has been done. For an example, we were designing a park for Spring Hill, and they said, well, because you looked at other pieces of property, and you said, well, we're going to put it over here on some county property. I think my understanding is about 50 acres, which if I'm successful in the next election, that I will be working more with you than my good friend Ronnie Cowan to help put that project together. So, you could do the design process, and then you can place the footprint of the building on a piece of property. That has been done before. Now, before you got here, the late Cheryl Del Franklin, she would go out with the commissioners, I know several times with myself, and we would talk to our constituents. We never took another district commissioner out of another district and went over in District 4 with always myself and her in the community, and they would tell us what we wanted to do. And then if needed, so I would bring in, when we had a recreation board, I would bring in recreation if that's what we want to put in the park or the parcel of property. And then Dwayne, well, not Dwayne then, but they would come in and we would talk about what might be placed in it. So let us not start, as I have been several times, disrespect our district commissioner. Let's work with her in her stakeholders, her constituents, and to have that park placed, a much-needed park, much-needed community center in her district, and work together with them. So let's don't go and just take over it, and let her and Jeff and her community come back and tell us what they would like to see in their community.
Commissioner Sanders?
June 23rd, that meeting was set, what, about 2 months ago we set that meeting, Jeff?
6 weeks ago.
To have a meeting with the residents to discuss the entire process. Mr. Prime is going to be there, our county manager, as well as our Parks and Rec director. That is the town hall to discuss everything at the Westside precinct. Just to reiterate what my colleague said, Commissioner Henderson, you work with each other. We don't get up in here and try to make a scene or try to bash the other commissioner because we just want to hear ourselves talk. So we have to make sure if you want various projects in your community, I'm going to support your project. I'm going to support it. I'm going to support your project because your community wants the project. Now, as regards to location, I hear the community. That's why I brought in a second option. That's why I did that. And I want to make sure that was on record that I brought a second option. And I also reached out to the commissioners on this board in regards to the second option. Of course, we can't talk about that until we get into executive session. District 3 is the most dense community out of all the districts with most of the kids. We don't have a Denny Dobbs. We don't have a city pond. We don't have none of that. We don't have parks and recreation for our youth. As I stated last to our commissioners, when we had our ribbon cutting, a 14-year-old with a ankle bracelet came up to me saying, I want this in the community. That's why I went to all of the schools in my area to hear from the students, the people who are going to actually house this building. So the problem is adults are making decisions for youth where we want to put them in facilities and not listening to them. That is the issue. So I sat down and I spoke to those students who gave me their feedback of programming that they wanted in their facility, as well as how they wanted to look, which I passed on to Mr. Prime and his colleagues and our Parks and Rec director. I took that initiative to make sure I heard from those who are in the community to make sure they utilize the building so we can deter the crime, so we can have various programs in the community for our youth. So let's work together, not against each other. Thank you.
Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm glad my colleague said that. Because when the skate park at Denny Dobbs Park was put up, I got ostracized because I didn't have a town hall with adults that were not going to utilize the facility. When I had a town hall with the youth that were going to utilize the skate park. So I don't understand why now, all of a sudden, it's about the youth and what do the youth want. But when I did that, and I had a town hall with the youth, I was ostracized because I didn't have a town hall with adults that were not going to utilize the skate park. This item is not about working against each other. This is about wanting the project in District 3, just not the location. That is the whole objective. I think the residents in District 3 do want it there. I think this board wants it there. I think what we have to address is the location. And I think doing this design is putting the cart before the horse. So I think because it's so controversial, what we need to do is not even worry about this at this point. Let's go ahead and get the RFP corrected. Once we get that RFP corrected, allow it, find a location, and then allow that to come back to this board once we've solidified a location and that the residents are satisfied with and that they are happy with. Then we move into the design phase at that particular point. That's what I'm requesting from this board.
Is that a substitute motion?
That is a substitute motion.
All right, is there a second? It was already a motion on the floor by Commissioner Sanders and second by Commissioner Henderson. Commissioner, yeah, you got a motion.
You said motion to approve, and Henderson second.
So we got a substitute motion by Commissioner Mason, second by Commissioner Edwards. Any more discussion? Commissioner, I'm sorry?
My motion is to move forward with design so that Jeff can utilize his people to find the location, to do all that. So if we're tabling it, who are we gonna pay to find the location? Who are we paying?
Yeah, Jeff.
Yeah, but Jeff is a consultant, so we gotta pay Jeff.
We already paying Jeff.
So Jeff, you're on.
Yeah, we already paying Jeff. That's right. I don't
He's-
understand why we're
so
paying
he's on
somebody
it-
to go find land anyway, because he found land for Spring Hill Park.
Well, actually, we found land already together, so
Yeah,
we'll
that's
talk
what I'm
about
saying.
that.
That's what I'm
But-
saying.
But to move forward, Jeff, give me your expertise in regards to moving forward with the design.
I am more than capable to helping us to go through the site selection process and pull together an analysis of options and bring that in front of the board. That's what we did with Spring Hill Park. The only thing I had mentioned to you previously when I was saying is that the one benefit that Jericho could bring was helping to determine specific building size and needs. But, I mean, if that's a concern of the board and the board does not want to go in that direction, I am more than willing to do the same process that we did with Spring Hill Park.
And that's why we had a town hall with the students and the constituents.
Mr. Sims, guys, I'm finna call for
Mr.
the
Chair, I
vote.
just had an observation, a question. Are we considering any locations near the Westside schools for this location?
Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah. But I'm calling for the vote. Guys, all in favor? All in favor of the table? Any? Yes, yes. Table it to find a location. Oh, Jesus. No, the table is for us to find a location with Jeff Prime. The motion that Commissioner Sanders made was to move forward with, what's the name of the guy?
Jericho.
Jericho.
Who were already paying Jeff?
Yeah. So again, I'm calling for the motion. Guys, all in favor to table this? Any opposed? It's staying tabled, guys. Until we find property.
Can we put that on?
Yeah.
So, Chairman, just for clarifications for myself, so I'm authorized to move forward with a site selection process similar to what we did with Spring Hill Park, working with Commissioner Sanders, and to come bring that back to the board. Is that okay? Is that what, I just want to make sure, because I don't want to overstep myself. I don't want to outstep the pace there, so, okay.
Number
All right.
19, sir. Number 19.
All right, so number 19. So this is once again, this is a design build for the Phase 2 expansion of the senior services facility. So we put out an RFP for design build services. We went through the process of receiving two proposals. One was from Sunbelt and one was from BCI. Sunbelt's total fees for senior services was $51,500. BCI was a total of $144,000. So once we completed our analysis of both the technical capabilities and the fees, Sunbelt is who we're recommending that you award the contract to.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a motion, please? This is a motion by Commissioner Edwards, and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. Is this add-on to the existing turn
Yes,
lane?
sir. Yes, sir. This is, remember back in March, we asked for additional funds to finish out the expansion
Okay.
at Turner Lake. This finishes it out.
Okay, thank you.
With SPOS 17 funds.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Public Works. Jarvis, did you?
Yeah,
Okay. You want to go ahead?
so the Public Works Department is requesting approval to purchase the right-of-way and easement for the access road at I-20 for realignment and intersection of improvements. Total cost is $330,568. The funding source is 80% from ARC and 20% from the SPOS. This does not it does require a match.
Thank you, sir. I seek a motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a second? Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any discussion? Commissioner Cowan. Can you speak in the microphone, please?
Where is this at?
It is, just one second, I think
Is this Kroll Road?
It has to be.
Realignment of that road there?
I think it has to be the access road.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
behind,
access road.
okay.
Yes.
It's by the McDonald's.
Behind Kroll, on Kroll
Yep.
Road.
Any more discussion? All in favor? I'm sorry. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So that was Kroll Road?
The access road.
Access road to Kroll Road?
Yeah.
So it does require a match?
Yeah, and we're using SPOS for the match, the 20%.
Of the 20%, okay,
Yes.
got you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor? It passes 5-0.
Take that off that bridge.
Next is consideration of proposed annexation by the city of Covington to annex 35.45 acres. Mr. Sims.
Yeah, so we received this request from the city of Covington to annex approximately 35.45 acres at Hazelbrand Road.
I can add a little, we reviewed the proposed annexations. They meet all of the Georgia law regarding contiguity, which means it's attached to the existing city, does not create an island. The property is currently designated under your zoning ordinance as M1. It will be annexed into the city as industrial manufacturing as well, which means under Georgia law, you have no basis for an objection because it both meets all of the Georgia law standards for annexation and there is not a meaningful land use change. So there's really no action for the board to be taken other than be aware of it.
Can you
Thank
tell
you.
me which 35 acres that is?
I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to tell you. Let me see if I can give you some landmarks. Bear with me one second. Let me
Is
pull
that
it up.
across from Home Depot,
Would you like to come up?
next to SKC?
Guys.
Oh, somebody can tell us better than I.
Yep. And commissioners, y'all, please remember we are in
Sir,
a board meeting. Please utilize your microphone.
I got it on.
Please talk in it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for,
Chairman Baines.
thank you for being here tonight. Can you give us an update on where's this particular property?
Yes, sir, I will. And just for the record, I'm Renee Criswell, work with the City of Covington Planning Development Department. Nice to meet all of you.
Welcome
As
tonight.
well, Mr. Beechuk, my Planning Development Director, was playing double duty at Mayor and Council tonight, so I'm kind of filling in for the double sides here. The one that is in discussion at the moment for the Hazelbrand Road, I believe, that is kind of, if you know where SKC Properties is, diagonally across the street from that property, down Hazelbrand. So if you go down, SKC's on your right, and it's down about a parcel or two on the left.
Okay.
in reference to that, and there's 3 separate parcels in referencing to that. I don't know if you want me to go into, well, that's item 22, so.
Well, let me get a vote on this one first. Let me get a motion in. Yeah, can I get a motion, please?
There's really no action that needs to be taken.
Oh, no action?
You don't have to approve. I mean, you could do a motion not to object, which would be, I think, probably the appropriate motion. We'll do that.
Well, can I get a motion not to object, please?
I make a motion not to object.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, sir.
I make a motion that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. You want to go ahead and do item 22?
Yes, sir. The next item for annexation is 233 Williams Road, which is down from the City Pond Recreational Center, which borders the 3-parcel borders city property. So that's our next annexation request.
Thank you. And this,
We reviewed this one. It likewise meets all of the Georgia requirements for annexation. This one will involve a zoning change. However, the requested zoning, which is industrial zoning, is compliant with your future land use map. And because of that, Georgia law says you do not have a bona fide land use objection. So again, there's no basis upon which you should object.
can I get a motion not to object, please?
I make a motion not to object.
Can I get a second? Can I get a second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Cowan and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Are we talking about the little piece down below the park, Cedar Pond Park, that goes up into the neighborhood? Or are we talking about where they building the big old town center?
We didn't bring anything for presentation. The letters were sent out, but if I can approach, I'd be glad to show them where the properties are located. And
Yes, you can.
if it's
Okay.
I think it's the same map that's in our book.
Yes, ma'am.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
That's the city
Mhm.
on recreational park, and it's these 3.
I got it. Yes, ma'am.
And then it's kinda like
Yes,
that
ma'am. Thank you.
backwards L shape.
He knew where it was at, Ronnie did. She just told him.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Pass 5-0. Thank you so
Thank
much.
y'all very much. And like that hat, Sam.
Next is item number 23, approval to adopt resolution R062122. Patrick, you want to deal with this?
So we were asked to review the task order number 14, which is the task order we were all discussing about the Westside Youth Facility, which designated Westside Youth Facility at Fairview Community Park. I drafted a resolution, and I'll just read it in its entirety. On April 5th, 2022, the Newton County Board of Commissioners approved Ascension Program Management LLC task order number C14, proposal for project management services, whereas the approval of the task order specified that the services were for the Westside Youth Facility at Fairview Community Park. Whereas in approving the task order, the board did not intend to designate Fairview Community Park as the location of the Westside Youth Facility. Whereas Newton County has received concerns from communities surrounding Fairview Community Park expressing that the proposed Westside Youth Facility should not be built at the Fairview Community Park. Whereas the work authorized under the task order is not site-specific, whereas it is the desire of the board to amend approval of the task order to reflect that the location of the Westside Youth Facility is not at Fairview Community Park, but will be at a location to be determined. Now therefore be it resolved that the approval of the task order be amended to provide for project management services for a Westside Youth Facility at a location to be determined.
Thank you, sir.
And that's the resolution we proposed. And what that does is precisely, Commissioner Mason, what you mentioned before, corrects that April 5th
resolution.
Thank you. I seek a motion. Can I get a second, please? Who second? Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Sanders and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Passes 5-0. Thank you much. Next, Greg, if you would. Information System request approval, annual renewal.
It's like we saved the best for last, right? Here, seeking approval for the annual renewal of our know-before cybersecurity employee training and testing program, the amount of $11,322. This is funded through the Information Services FY23 budget, ties back to Strategy A of our strategic plan.
Thank you, sir. I seek a motion, please.
Make a motion to approve the, well, I lost my track. Cost of $11,322.01, to Ascension, no, wait a minute, Information System, no before cybersecurity.
Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Cowan and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda is citizen comments. This opportunity that we allow citizens to make comments. Guys, you have 3 minutes to do so. Please state your name, your address for the record, please. Remember, you do have 3 minutes to do so. You may come at this time.
Good evening once again, Chairman Baines. My name is Theresa Waters. I live at 90 Chandler Fields Drive, Covington, Georgia, 30016. First thing I would like to do is say thank you very much for this amendment and removing Fairview Estates from there. That is the subdivision in which I live in, and I do not want a youth facility nor a community center in my backyard. If anything, first, before we withdraw any more residents from Newton County into the subdivision, I would like the board to address the sex offenders that live across from the park already. So, since we already have sex offenders within the park, within feet that have been from where these children that we're trying to keep safe and have things done for, that those things be addressed first. Please do not consider putting a youth facility within a subdivision. I know that's county property. I know you already own it. But down by Newton High School, out in a public place, but not my subdivision. It is a subdivision of home and family. My backyard adjoins that property. Please do not even consider sitting and building such a facility within the subdivision. And I thank you very much that you're looking at other options, that you're going to assess land first. I appreciate it. I value what it is you do, but please, not in my backyard. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
Wallace at 295 Fieldview Lane, Covington, Georgia, 30016.
Can you repeat your name, please?
Noelle Wallace. I'd like to thank Commissioner Mason for standing up for us. You actually spoke exactly how we feel. I live in Fairview Estates. We've had problems. We fought not to get the park that was originally designed in our facility. It wanted to be a big, huge, sports complex. The commissioners listened to us. They made it a passive park, promised that it would be majority green space, which it is, and that's the way we want to keep it. That space backs up to my backyard. I don't want a commercial facility in my backyard, but we do need a use facility in the west side, which I believe is more than just District 3. So it is needed, but not in our backyard. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Mia Johnson. I live at 70 Highgate Trail, Covington, Georgia, 30016. Everybody has spoke about the community center for the kids. If we don't do anything today, then when? Why not in your subdivision? Why not in your community? These kids need somewhere to go. If you don't put them somewhere that they can learn something, and when they rob your house, you're gonna say, why they didn't put a youth center over there? They are our kids. They need somewhere to express themselves in a positive way, being taught in a positive atmosphere. That youth center is needed. Those kids need help. When a child go out and do something they shouldn't do, they're asking for help. And if we as an adult can't step in and help our kids, then who gonna do it? We worried about what's in our back door. That's in my back door. Guess what? God is in your front door.
Anyone else? Anyone else? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Thank you. Anyone else? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can come to the next board meeting. You can come. Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Edwards.
Don't tell her that.
What do you think?
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry. What do you think?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know we spoke briefly, mentioned briefly some ARPA funds tonight. We need to get our little committee together probably and talk about a few more things. Put an agenda, if you don't mind, put an agenda together and maybe we can get some of more of these funds designated. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mm-hmm. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Board of Elections is actually looking for poll workers and poll watchers for the November 8th election. So anybody that's interested in being a poll worker or poll watcher, please contact our Board of Elections to let them know that that's something that you're interested in. Also, we have our movie in the park at Denny Dobbs Park again on July the 8th. So we're going to be having another movie in the park with our vendors, our DJ. We always have a great time. We had a great time last Friday, so we're going to be having our next one on July the 8th. Also, I'm going to be the keynote speaker for an African-American male wellness symposium this Saturday at New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Lithonia. And so if anyone wants to come out, there's going to be some amazing speakers in addition to myself, really helping our young men, our young women, really look at wellness and how they can live a healthier and a well lifestyle, and how even myself as a local elected official, how I can help them move in that positive direction. Also wanted to take note that I'm going to be on some new boards. I've been asked to be on the Economic Mobility Leadership Network with NACO, the National Association of Counties. So I'm going to be serving on that leadership network, really finding ways to help build our community, help looking at affordable housing, help looking at a lot of different areas that we can actually address on that leadership network. Also, I've recently been asked to be the Vice President of the Revenue and Finance Steering Committee for the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia. So I'm very excited about taking on that Vice President role with ACCG in the Revenue and Finance Steering Committee to really figure out how can we really address these financial concerns, even when it comes to property taxes and things of that nature. And so I'm looking forward to really getting some more information to be able to bring it back to our community. And that was all I had, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sanders.
Yes, sir. I just want to invite everyone on July 9th for Community Day at Joint Heirs Church in District 3 from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. I'm partnering with the church. They're having movie night and various things they have going on, as well as vendors and so forth. So make sure you come out. That's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. On August 7th is our second annual Ladies Retreat here in Newton County, and I'm definitely excited about that. I just want to speak a little bit on Fairview Community Park, and I spoke to a couple of commissioners. For one, that park should have never been placed in your community, and I do agree, Ms. Waters. Two, we as the commissioners need to also find another location as far as another entrance to that park, because the taxpayers are paying for that park, and it inconveniences the homeowners if they're all coming through the subdivision. So I have spoken with Dwayne Mask and as well in the beginning to have that entrance from the subdivision closed off to where the residents can actually walk through it, but allow the other constituents, allow the other residents in Newton County to be able to utilize a park where they pay taxes for. So it should have never, and I agree, it should have never been placed in your subdivision. It should have never had an entrance coming through your subdivision, but it is county property. So the residents have a right to utilize the property. So we have to make sure we correct the wrong by closing off that entrance and making sure we find another entrance so everybody in the county can utilize a park that they have paid tax dollars on. In relation to, well, in regards to your sex offender comment, your previous HOA president actually reached out to me, and I've also spoke to the sheriff. They have to follow state law. You can't just put anybody out, and if those sex offenders have a certain, I don't know the degree of their criminal offense, you can't just put them out. So that's why they're still there, because by state law, they can reside. So what needs to happen, I sent that to some of your residents, you need to speak to state delegation with changing laws, because all that's on the state level, not on the county level. So the state, you all need to speak to our state delegation. We have state representatives, we have senators, and ask them what can be done to change those laws in regards to that. Because based on their offense, it must not be as extensive to where they have to leave. So that's the other issue. So the sheriff is aware of it. I've been informed of it. I've actually reached out to the sheriff, and I was informed of the state law, so they can't just kick somebody out in regards to that. So that's why they're able to stay in those areas. So let's reach out to our state delegation to find out what we can do in regards to that. So thank you.
Commissioner Henderson. Thank you. It's a very important issue that's happening. I know here in Covington or wherever there are large plants that emits ethanol oxide. In fact, within a 10-mile radius around the city of Covington, where most of our plants at, it's a lot of people have been exposed to it. And what worries me is the fact they are self-reporting. In other words, nobody's keeping an eye on the people who are emitting, the larger plants who are emitting ethanol oxide into our community. They report themselves. And I think about, when I say that, I think about a stop sign. If you did have an officer there who may see me run a stop sign, who may give me a ticket, if I said, well, I'm gonna write myself own ticket for running a stop sign. And that's basically what we're doing with a whole lot of plants. And all these plants are getting older, and there are leaks, like a Garden Automotive. There are leaks in the soil that emit chemicals that are similar to ethanol oxide. In fact, I think they're first cousins. And so it causes a lot of cancers, leukemia, low birth weight, and a whole lot of stuff in our communities. And there's a lot of things that are going on in our communities. And so I asked the professional, I said, how would you know if this is really affecting us? And he said, go and look at the death certificate of your family members. More than likely, some of them may have passed and didn't even know it from that. And I commend a young lady about 2 years ago who wrote the article in Covington News, because I lit up just like a light bulb and said, this is stuff that's happening within our community, and we're not saying a word. That may be causing a whole lot of danger and causing cancer. And it's not only over here on Puckett Street or over here in the housing project, it's also on Floyd Street too as well, and all the other little regular places around our community. And one last thing, we should not, the taxpayer of Newton County should not be using tax money to help keep up a plantation, not our tax dollars.
We shouldn't be using it. We need to stop funding it, and we need to do it ASAP. And just to ignore it, it will not go away. Well, I'm just say this in part and company and closing out this conversation that I'm having now, is that in order to know where you're going, you gotta know where you came from. And I think we need to open our eyes up.
Commissioner Cowan. Thank you, sir. Guys, we do have a need for executive session tonight. We will not be taking I'm sorry. We will not be taking a vote tonight. So guys, I mean, you can hang around if you want to, but we will not be taking a vote, so there's probably no need to hang around. Thank you for coming tonight. Commissioner, this has been a long day. We've been here since 5. We will be meeting downstairs in the commissioner's room, and there are food down there prepared for you guys. I seek a motion that we move into executive session, please.
To discuss, make sure we say to
I'm sorry.
discuss real estate acquisition.
I'm sorry, to discuss land acquisition. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards, second by Commissioner Mason. All in favor? We stand in executive session, guys.